There are some crazy ways to get around the world of Hyrule in The Legend of Zelda. Hover boots, spinning tops of doom, zonai devices, but today I want to talk about how one glitch changed how a Zelda game was played that allowed people to beat it incredibly fast, and actually has ties to the 9th century as well as the future of transportation as we know it. So let's dive once more into the world of Breath of the Wild to look at a glitch known as the Windbomb. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was the first completely open-world entry in the series, and inspired many developers into making their own open-world games. Not only is it the best-selling Zelda game of all time, it's one of the top-selling games ever, and largely contributed to the success of the Nintendo Switch. Since the beginning, the speedrunning community really enjoyed this game, with people like Player5, Small Ant, Linkus7, and Point Crow bringing popularity to the title while streaming the game. Because of this, people were looking for faster and faster ways to beat and break the game. This resulted in some really fun glitches like BTB and later Bless. One speedrunner by the name that I'm going to slaughter, so I'll just put it right here on the screen, discovered that if you use the explosion from a bomb to launch a second bomb into Link's back, you could go flying. This is now known as the Windbomb, Bomb Impact Launch, Bomb Jump, or Boomie-Zoomie. The timing is a little tricky, but not too difficult to master. Normally, the explosions from a bomb cause uniform damage in the area where they explode. They also launch anything that can be damaged or destroyed at high speeds away from the explosion. This includes other bombs. So this glitch works by taking advantage of that fact. Rather than the explosion hitting Link, it launches a projectile, in this case, the second bomb, into Link's back before the explosion itself can reach him. The impact from this projectile puts Link into a ragdoll state and throws him at pretty high speeds across the map. Although this seems unreasonable in reality, explosions and high-velocity impacts can easily launch things incredibly far. First, let's figure out how projectiles work. A projectile is something that gets pushed by some force and then continues on a path determined by that initial velocity and other forces acting upon it. For a simple case, let's go ahead and look at a ball that has a starting speed v in some direction. Based on gravity and that starting velocity, we can figure out exactly where that ball will land and how long it will be in the air. This is true even if the ball starts higher or lower than the landing spot. And we can even use these equations backwards to figure out the initial speed of the ball. And that's what we're going to be doing in our case here. For our situation, we're going to put Link at the top of the Great Plateau here. After the explosion, Link is in the air for 4.33 seconds before he hits the ground over here. Thankfully, they added coordinate systems to Tears of the Kingdom so we can see exactly how far Link travels in that time. This gives us a horizontal distance of 202 meters and a vertical change of 56 meters. We'll call these X and Y. We've previously figured out that gravity in Hyrule is 32 meters per second squared. And using our projectile equations, we can fill in the starting position, final position, the travel time, and the gravity to figure out how fast he was going when he launched. This ends up meaning that Link traveled about 96 meters per second at takeoff. That's almost 214 miles per hour or 346 kilometers per hour, which is faster than a Peregrine Falcon and is about as fast as a McLaren F1. Since he's jumping off the ledge here, we can say that before Link launches, he's moving about 1 meter per second, or around 2.25 miles per hour. After the bomb hits him, he accelerates to that top speed in about 5/6 of a second. That means Link is accelerating at over 1,100 meters per second squared, and he's experiencing over 116 Gs. There's a saying that it's not the fall that does you in, but the sudden stop. The same goes in reverse here. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports that the average person suffers severe injury or death for sudden impacts with accelerations at 65 to 75 Gs. This is 50% higher than that, directly to his spine. The amount of force that Link experiences is around 68,000 newtons. It takes approximately 3,000 newtons to break a spine. But with that amount of force directly to his back, I'm surprised that he only takes part of damage. No wonder he was able to fend off Guardians, Lynels, and the Demon King himself. Although we don't really use explosions to launch one thing to launch another thing, seems a bit Rube Goldberg to me, we do use explosions to launch a lot of other things. And although it may seem a bit unconventional to launch people using explosions, we've been using explosions to launch things since at least the 10th century. Some examples include cannons, potato launchers, airsoft, and paintball equipment. Nature itself uses explosions to launch things into the air. One example of that is the seeds from a sandbox tree, which can cause serious injury if you're too close. If you're good at controlling the explosions, you can actually get continual acceleration from them rather than a single push. That's exactly how combustion engines and rockets work. By containing or directing the explosion to propel something, you can utilize more of the force. The craziest example that I know of that uses this type of application is a DARPA project designed during the Cold War called Project Orion. And the idea was to see if you could use nuclear explosions to launch rockets up to 10% of the speed of light. And there were some small problems with the design that ultimately shut it down before it could take off, literally. Probably a good thing too, since the explosions could cause shrapnel from the shielding to hit the vehicle, and would have likely caused large amounts of nuclear fallout behind the rocket as it went. Going back to Breath of the Wild, at least the glitch that Link uses here doesn't use nuclear explosions to launch himself across the map. He'd probably have a hard time explaining that to Zelda and the citizens of Hyrule if he had to use small nuclear weapons to defeat Ganon, or just to go collect some Korok seeds. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. This idea actually came from one of your comments in my previous videos by Nintendo Yellow Joy-Cons 8750. Thanks for the idea. If you guys have any other ideas that you'd like me to investigate, feel free to leave a comment down below, and we'll see if we can dive into that next time. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you later. Ciao!